Hello. Colocasia, also known as elephant's ears plants. This is the standard green variety known as Colocasia esculenta. I've propagated these 18 plants from one bulb. I've also given half a dozen away. So that's 24 plants from one bulb in the course of 4 years. Which got me thinking, could I send one of these mail order to a friend? And if it worked and he managed to grow it, could I set up a little mini Colocasia mail order business? So in this video, I'm going to dig one of these little plants up and post it to a friend of mine up in Scotland. And then we're going to see how it does by being posted and whether it survives that trip and how it gets on throughout the summer. And if it goes well, I might start selling these over the internet or Facebook. And who knows, by this time next year, I could be a millionaire. So here's my little trowel. I'm going to start off with a little tiny one, this little one here. Now, whilst I'm doing this, I'm packaging this little bulb up. I'll also share with you some hints and tips on how to look after and overwinter and propagate Colocasia esculenta. So here is the little plant, which I've just dug up out of the border. And this is the one I'm going to send up to Colin. Let's have a look at this in a little bit more detail. I'm just going to gently clean off this bulb so we can have a closer look at the anatomy. Now, this plant is not hardy in the UK climate, so if you've planted yours in the ground as I have here, you're going to have to take special precautions. Towards the end of the summer, come autumn, October time, I will have to dig all of these corms up and take them to a cool, dry place to overwinter them. I'll stop watering them and I'll let them dry out, because if I were to leave them in the ground in the cold, wet UK winter, the bulbs, the corms, the rhizomes would just rot away and disappear. But you can overwinter them in a shed or a greenhouse, providing you let them dry out and then plant them out in the spring and they will start to grow again like this. But there are some varieties of Colocasia which are hardy in the UK climate, and I've got one here. It's known as Colocasia Pink China, and as you can see, it's got lovely pink stems to its leaves here, and apparently this can be left out over winter in the UK. Now, I've only had this since the springtime. I've not tried this all year yet, so we'll have to wait and see to see if it proves itself. But that's Colocasia Pink China, and apparently that is hardy in the UK climate. Now, I've heard of people buying these from Asian supermarkets as taro, and simply by planting them into the ground, they've sprung into life, as would a chitted potato. So there's another option if you can find one. So here is my tiny little Colocasia plant, and I don't know if you can see. It sits on top of a rhizome or a corm or a bulb. That's also known as taro. That's actually edible. If you were to peel it, boil it and then roast it, you'd end up with something like sweet potato. Now, I'm handling these with bare hands. Some people, parts of this plant cause irritation. So if you are worried about that at all, you probably should wear gloves. I'm okay because these don't affect me. The plant grows out of that corm. A little nodule erupts, a little pink nodule, and then these leaves grow up. And from the bottom of those leaves, as you can probably see, there are several little roots. So there's a perfect little specimen of a Colocasia esculenta, and that is on its way up to Scotland. So already I'm an international plant exporter. I'm going to put it in this little plastic box. This is one of those food containers that you can buy from a supermarket. You can also get Chinese meals in this. I'm going to put in there some damp compost. Now, this plant enjoys its feet being wet, so I'm going to transport this in the mail, in the postal service, in damp compost. So let's put a little bit of that in the bottom. Let's put the bulb in on top. Now, I'm also going to place in there some polystyrene just to package it out a bit and stop it moving around too much. I'm using polystyrene because it's quite light. It'll cost less to post. better move my coffee out of the way. And then on top of that, I shall place some more damp compost. So in there we have a little Colocasia Escalante transportation capsule. Put the lid on. I'm hoping that if that gets there in 2 or 3 days in the Royal Mail, that'll survive and be planted out, but we will see. This is an experiment. Colin is going to plant that. He's a bit of an expert on Colocasia himself. He's got several pink chinas, and I think if this works out, he might start selling his pink chinas. So let's now wrap this up in polythene like a little Christmas present, and use a little bit of tape. Move that out of the way. Feels a bit like Blue Peter, this. Blue Peter was a children's programme in the UK, just in case you're watching in the States and wondering what I'm talking about. So I shall put some tape over there. By the way, if you are in the States, I don't think I'll be able to send these to you, because I don't think it's not possible, I think, to export plants abroad. But anyway, let's wrap that over there. I'm not doing a particular good job of wrapping this, but it will do the job. I'll be able to write a label, stick a label on top of it. If I do this mail order at some point in the future, of course I will be putting some care instructions into the envelope, but because I'm in contact with Colin up in Scotland, and Colin knows probably just about all there is to know about allocations, I don't really need to worry too much about care instructions, because he'll know exactly what to do with that when it arrives. So that is now going to go into the Royal Mail today, and hopefully it will arrive tomorrow, and by the end of the week, hopefully that will be in its new home. And in a couple of months' time, hopefully we'll start to see some new growth. That corm that it sits on top of is full of carbohydrate, so it's got a great food store already. And Colin will plant that in organic, moisture retentive soil, and hopefully, given a few months of food and water, that will erupt and produce those huge, enormous elephant's ears type leaves that this plant is so well known for. So, hope you've enjoyed that little demonstration about me setting up my Colocasia mail order business. Please do like it if you have enjoyed it, and of course subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and come back to see how we get on with this experiment. What are your experiences of having plants delivered in the mail? Does it work for you? Are there any particular plants which can be posted very successfully? Let me know in the box below this video, and see you soon.